The Wrecker, 2025, opens with a premise as simple as it is potent. An ex-Marine turned mechanic is thrust into a brutal battle with a crime syndicate after his brother's reckless mistake puts his family in the crosshairs. Directed by Art Camacho and penned by Nico Foster, who also stars, this film stakes its claim in the action thriller genre with a lean, hard-edged narrative. What makes The Wrecker stand out isn't just its premise, but how it promises to blend gritty, personal stakes with kinetic action sequences. Today on Cut to Reel, we're breaking down how this 2025 release employs its direction, performances, and writing to carve its niche in a crowded field of crime thrillers. The core of The Wrecker is straightforward but effective. A man's life as a car mechanic spirals violently out of control when his brother's poor choices attract the ire of a crime boss. This setup places the film squarely in the action thriller realm, where family loyalty meets criminal underworld brutality. Released in 2025, The Wrecker arrives in a cinematic landscape saturated with anti-hero revenge tales and crime syndicate dramas. But it leans into the personal, the intimate, rather than sprawling heist plots or sprawling conspiracies. It's likely designed for theatrical release with streaming follow-up, aiming for audiences who appreciate grounded, adrenaline-fueled storytelling without overly complex narratives. Art Camacho, known for his work in tightly choreographed action films, brings a clear directorial style here, one that favors precision and grit over flashy excess. His framing tends to emphasize the physicality of characters, close-ups that capture tension, wide shots that showcase the rawness of fight and chase sequences. Visually, The Wrecker opts for a muted color palette, leaning into earthy tones that reflect the mechanic's blue-collar world, punctuated by stark lighting contrasts during moments of threat. Camera movement is purposeful and often handheld, which injects immediacy and a documentary-like urgency, especially in action scenes. Editing rhythms vary, slower during dramatic family moments to build emotional weight, then snapping briskly during confrontations to escalate tension. The film's visual style also supports its thematic core, chaos invading stability. Camacho's use of tight framing during quieter scenes conveys a claustrophobic sense of entrapment, while wider shots in action sequences underline the danger's scope. The editing, paired with sound design, likely sharpens the contrast between the mechanic's routine life and the violent disruption wrought by his brother's mistake. Overall, the direction aims not only to deliver adrenaline, but to ground that adrenaline in character-driven stakes, creating a tension that feels earned rather than gratuitous. The cast of The Wrecker is a blend of seasoned veterans and fresh faces, which creates an interesting dynamic. Tyrese Gibson, known for his commanding presence and physicality, fits naturally as the ex-Marine mechanic. His ability to combine toughness with emotional vulnerability is key to anchoring the film's personal stakes. Harvey Keitel, a stalwart in crime cinema, brings gravitas and menace that elevate the crime boss role beyond cliché. Nico Foster, who also wrote the film, offers an intriguing double duty. His performance likely balances the youthful recklessness that sets the plot in motion. Mena Suvari and Danny Trejo add further texture, with Trejo's signature intensity promising memorable moments. This ensemble, with its varied backgrounds, suggests chemistry grounded in contrasting energies, experience, volatility, and resilience. Early buzz around the cast hints at strong chemistry and a commitment to grounded performances rather than over-the-top action archetypes. Given Camacho's direction and the script's focus, audiences can expect a cast that delivers both physicality and emotional nuance. There's a clear intention to avoid caricature, especially around family dynamics and criminal antagonism. This approach deepens investment in the characters' fates, making action set pieces more impactful because the audience cares about who's fighting and why. The writing by Nico Foster appears to favor a tight, linear structure, less about complex plotting and more about escalating consequences. The Wrecker seems to explore themes of loyalty, family responsibility, and the ripple effects of impulsive decisions. The mechanic's transformation from everyday man to reluctant warrior likely serves as a study in resilience under pressure. The narrative probably builds tension through a series of escalating confrontations rather than elaborate schemes, emphasizing emotional stakes over spectacle. This restrained approach to structure supports the film's grounded tone, avoiding the pitfalls of overcomplication common in some action thrillers. Thematically, the film appears to lean into the fragility of normal life when exposed to criminal violence. It's about how one bad decision, here, the brother's reckless act, can unravel stability and force a personal reckoning. This kind of story aligns with classic crime thriller motifs, but is filtered through a working-class lens, which adds a layer of relatability and grit. It's a narrative about survival and protection, where the protagonist's skills as an ex-Marine and mechanic aren't just background details. They're essential to how he navigates this escalating war. While The Wrecker isn't part of a larger franchise, it slots neatly alongside similarly themed action thrillers like John Wick or The Equalizer, where a protagonist with a military or specialized background takes on overwhelming odds to protect loved ones. However, it distinguishes itself by focusing less on stylized spectacle and more on grounded conflict. In comparison to heist or crime thrillers with twisting plots, like the Ocean series or The Town, The Wrecker opts for a more direct narrative, prioritizing character-driven tension over elaborate schemes. This choice shapes audience expectations toward gritty realism and emotional intensity rather than high-concept thrills. Audiences familiar with crime syndicate thrillers will recognize familiar beats, but The Wrecker's strength lies in its intimate scale and focus on family fallout. It balances visceral action with emotional stakes, aiming to satisfy those who want more than just explosions or shootouts. The presence of actors like Harvey Keitel and Danny Trejo signals a connection to genre traditions, while the fresh energy from Nico Foster and Tyrese Gibson offers a contemporary edge. This mix situates the film as a solid entry for fans of grounded thrillers over the more stylized or cerebral crime films. The Wrecker is best suited for viewers who appreciate lean, character-focused action thrillers with a strong emotional core. Those drawn to high-octane, well-choreographed fight scenes paired with authentic performances will find value here. Conversely, audiences expecting intricate heist plots or high-concept twists might find it straightforward, as the film prioritizes raw tension over complexity. Its strengths lie in Camacho's assured direction and the cast's chemistry, but the film's narrow scope might feel limiting to those craving broader narrative ambition. Overall, it's a solid worth the stream for fans of gritty crime dramas anchored by family dynamics. What might hold some viewers back is the film's tight focus on a single family's conflict with a crime syndicate, which can feel familiar territory. However, the film's execution, marked by strong performances and clear directorial intent, turns familiar elements into a compelling, visceral experience. Its pacing and tone don't overreach, maintaining a consistent atmosphere that serves the story well. In short, The Wrecker doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it sharpens the edges of a classic template with enough skill and heart to stand out in a crowded genre. In the end, The Wrecker is a reminder that sometimes the most effective thrillers are those that keep the stakes personal and the action grounded. It's a film about how one mistake can cascade into chaos and how resilience and loyalty can turn an ordinary man into a formidable force. If you're looking for a no-nonsense, hard-hitting crime thriller anchored by solid performances and clear direction, The Wrecker delivers. Thanks for watching Cut to Reel, where we get straight to the core of what makes a film work. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the latest cinematic releases. Thanks for watching Cut to Reel. I'll see you next time for another look beneath the surface of cinema's best.